It's gone. It's over. It's done. Alert the Ewok villages and strike up the Yub Nub song, because the thread is dead and the Acolyte is no more. But while Star Wars may have jettisoned this poison, is it too late to save the franchise? Stick around and we'll talk about it. Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. The day we've been waiting for has finally arrived. Deadline confirmed yesterday in an exclusive report that The Acolyte, the worst Star Wars content ever created, the brainchild and public therapy session of Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, Leslye Headland, has officially been canceled by Lucasfilm. That means no season 2, no more lesbian space witches, no more Amanda same face, no more Mama Yes, no more ridiculous self-aggrandizing Leslye Headland interviews. It's over and done. We're never gonna see it again. Well, except for me, because I still gotta do that Acolyte finale review. Now, the internet would like you to believe that there are only two kinds of people when it comes to The Acolyte. There are those who are fanatically devoted to it and adore it, and those who violently hate it. The internet would also have you believe that you can glean something about who these people vote for based on their love or hate of this wretched show. But the internet would have been misleading you in both of these instances. Imagine that. There's a much larger percentage of the population between these two extremes that the internet tends to forget about. That's the apathetic masses who didn't care about this show at all and didn't watch a single second of it. Now, we've covered on this channel extensively how The Acolyte's viewership numbers were abysmal, falling well below Ahsoka and even Andor in total minutes watched on Disney+. But that finale, that was the final straw, apparently. When you look at the numbers for that terrible Acolyte swan song, you can clearly see why even Kathleen Kennedy couldn't justify another $180 million to make a second season of this absolute dreck. Is this a step in the right direction? Absolutely. Is Star Wars saved? Oh, heavens no. Let's talk about it today on Tooneytown TV.
Oh boy, I love it when a prophecy comes together, huh? We all said it was going to happen. We all said there was no way that this show was getting a second season, and here we are, folks. Report: Leslye Headland's The Acolyte canceled after abysmal finale ratings. And it's okay if you're laughing, folks, because this was an abysmal dreck of a show. And if you watched it like I had to watch it, then more power to you, and you deserve the victory lap that you're taking today. Don't let anyone tell you any different. All right, so this report comes to us from our friend John Trent over at That Puck Place, and he says a new report details that Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company canceled Leslye Headland's The Acolyte series. In the wake of Nielsen reporting the season finale, series finale now, had abysmal viewership numbers. Deadline's Nelly Andreeva reports the story of The Acolyte will not continue with Lucasfilm, opting not to proceed with the second season of the Star Wars offshoot starring Amanda Stenberg, aka Amanda Sameface. Sources tell Deadline. The report comes in the wake of Nielsen releasing its data for the week. The Acolyte series finale aired. The show only managed to garner 335 million minutes watched, and that was less than the 2-episode premiere, which brought in 488 million minutes watched. My God, look at this. Look at this. So The Boys was number 1. Then you had Cobra Kai, as it should be, because that's the greatest show ever. Love Island, Vikings Valhalla, The Bear was whooping on The Acolyte every single week. Homicide Los Angeles, Evil, Receiver, Bridgerton, and The Acolyte. And The Acolyte at number 10 is the only thing that Disney Plus had. And you look at Love Island at number 3. That was a Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, simul release. That's technically Disney. The Bear for Hulu is also technically on Disney. So, Disney gets some wins there. But The Acolyte, this is Star Wars, people. Karate Kid beat Star Wars. That's amazing. And beat it by a lot. I mean, a lot. Nielsen's viewership numbers reflect a significant decline in views per episode of the series on IMDb. The first episode received 26,000 reviews, while the finale only received 11,000. Not only did the show receive poor viewership, but those who did watch did not like it. The show is a 4.1 out of 10, with the plurality, 45.8% of all reviews being a 1 out of 10. My goodness, look at that. 45.8% of these reviews are a 1 out of 10. That's insane. And that's more than review bombing, folks. Don't listen to the review bombing nonsense. That's not true. That is just what people do to shield their properties, from the criticism that it so richly deserves. This report also confirms a rumor from WDW Pro, who indicated that Lucasfilm would not be moving forward with the show at the end of July. Pro said at the time, sources tell me that Leslye Headland does not, as of right now, have a contract for season 2 of The Acolyte. Said source tells me that following the finale of season 1 and the results that may have been coming in the weeks ahead, the decision may have been coming in weeks ahead of the finale. There are no current plans to develop a season 2. He added that could change. Kathleen Kennedy could always make that decision as long as she has a contract, which we believe she has a contract up until October of this year. And it may be continued past that, but that's when the current contract would end. But Kathleen Kennedy could go ahead and approve that. But as of right now, we are told there are no plans, no movements. There's nothing in development for a season 2 of The Acolyte. And we reported that on this channel as well, going off that report from Pro. And, people told us we were crazy. And here we are. It's canceled. It's not happening. You're never going to see these characters again. And he concluded, my source tells me everything in season 1 indicates they did plan on doing a season 2. That's despite what Leslye Headland said, folks, because she was like, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to just write for a 1 season. But she very clearly had a season 2 in mind. She left so many dangling threads and plots to chase in season 2. It was ridiculous. It was such season 2 bait, but she doesn't get it. But as of now, that continuation of the story seems to be on indefinite hold, indefinite pause. Well, if they're using the phrase canceled, if you're hearing this from Deadline, folks, that means it's legit. It's from Disney. That means this is done. This is canceled. This is over. The show performed extremely poorly compared to previous Star Wars Disney Plus series. This is interesting here. As noted by ex-user Now It's Known, the show's finale performed worse than every single live-action Star Wars show released on Disney Plus before it, including Ahsoka, Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Book of Boba Fett, and The Mandalorian. Ahsoka's finale back in October of 2023 saw its viewership hit 575 million minutes watched. The Acolyte's finale viewership is 41% less than Ahsoka's. Similarly, Andor's finale brought in 675 million minutes watched. The Acolyte's viewership is over 50% less than Andor's. Less than Andor. Get that. It's less than Andor, the one that nobody watched. Good Lord. Nobody watched this. It gets even worse when you compare it to Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Book of Boba Fett. Obi-Wan Kenobi had 860 million minutes watched for the week of its finale, and the Acolyte's viewership is over 60% less than Obi-Wan Kenobi. Similarly, the Book of Boba Fett's viewership had 885 million minutes watched. The Acolyte was over 62% less than the Book of Boba Fett. The Mandalorian Season 3 had 1.012 billion minutes watched, and the Acolyte performed 66% worse than that. Yeah, we all remember Leslye Headland was begging people to beg Lucasfilm for a season 2. Collider asked her in a question that was clearly not worked out beforehand, what fans could do to make sure that they get a season 2. And she said, truly, any online support and love you get in the show. It's a little tricky because of the way that the internet works. But if you enjoyed the show and you want to see more of the story, any support you can give the show on social media platforms would be super helpful. She continued, sending love to the cast, too. You see what Hayden went through? She calls him Hayden, like they're friends. You get the love now, but give the love now if you enjoyed the performances. Even if you were kind of whatever on the show, if you enjoyed the performances, get on their social media and let them know that you love them or that you support them or that their performances were great. There were only 2 good performances in this entire show, and that was Manny Jacinto in his role as the Stranger, a.k.a. Smilo Ren, and the Squid Games guy, in his role as Jedi Master Soul. She also said, encourage your friends to watch the show. Please, please, please tell your friends. Oh my gosh. A lot of my work has been word of mouth. We're talking about the review bombing. So just telling people don't pay attention to the IMDb score. Yeah, don't pay attention to what people are saying. That's fake. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Me, Leslye Headland, former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. She didn't say that if you enjoyed it, tell people. It kind of seems that it's sort of basic. But I think what's interesting is that nowadays, if you like a show, if you're very rarely going to go see online and be like, I liked this show or whatever. All right. So now we have a picture of Leslye Headland's wife, who we're never going to have to see again. We're never going to have to see that stupid light whip involved in actual combat. Oh, my goodness. Well, and that's it, folks. So there you go. The Acolyte, over and done with. It's not coming back. We're done with it. It's finito, finished, over, 100% gonzo. And yeah. I, for one, could not be happier about it.
The Acolyte had the same problem as certain wrestling companies that shall remain nameless only because most people don't know what AEW is. It catered to a niche, rabid audience that wasn't large enough to make the property profitable. It pumped entirely too much money into a project for far too little return. It touted the power of many, but it only catered to a select few. Star Wars should never be made for a niche audience. Star Wars is for everyone. If I may borrow a phrase I love from my friend WDW Pro, I will say that Star Wars should always be aimed at the mainstream middle and the sensible center. Now, The Acolyte is perhaps the single biggest flop in the history of streaming, with the exception of maybe The Rings of Power over on Amazon Prime. A $180 million show that saw abysmal viewership. Before it came out, I said that it would be the death blow of Star Wars, but was I right? Time's gonna tell there, but the brand is so incredibly damaged now that it's been pushed into the final stage of what I call IP death. Phase 1 is fan disbelief and disappointment. Phase 2 is fan anger. And Phase 3 is the final phase, and that's complete and utter fan apathy. The people who were once fans no longer care enough even to get angry anymore. They're not even hate watching. And from the numbers we've seen, it certainly looks like The Acolyte pushed people to that phase, joining the likes of Doctor Who and Star Trek. It's going to take something huge for Disney to pull Star Wars out of the hole that Leslye Headland put it in. And let's hope that Leslye Headland, and Amanda Stenberg for good measure, never work in Hollywood again. I know Leslye has a show opening on Broadway, but after that, should any studio ever trust her to write and direct ever again after this monumental failure? Obviously, this is Hollywood and people fail upward, but any studio that hires this woman again to head up a project deserves the failure that they get. Now, in my opinion, Disney's making the same mistake with Star Wars that it's making with its theme parks. Instead of developing new land and expanding, they're going over the same space over and over again. I mean, how many more shows and films can take place between episodes 3 and 4, or between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens? The only way forward is forward. We need to go into the future at least 500 or 600 years, where the only character still alive is Grogu, and he's a Mandalorian head of a resurgent Jedi Order. And then you get expanding it back to basics, telling stories unhindered by an eventual lore wall that you're gonna run into. That's what Star Trek did before Alex Kurtzman ran it into the ground, and they worked pretty well for a long time. Short of that, I don't know if there's anything Disney can do to resurrect Star Wars as a brand. So what do you guys think? How would you fix Star Wars? Can anyone fix Star Wars? Sound off in the comments and let me know. Thanks for joining us today, and please join us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. for Tooney Talk TV. It's a live stream pop culture podcast and a great way for you to make your voice heard as a part of the Tooneytown community. And this Thursday, August 22nd, we'll be having our 2,500 subscriber celebration. I'm honored and humbled that we were able to hit this milestone in under 3 months. Thank you all so much for helping to build this channel in record time. And I hope you'll celebrate with us Thursday night and laugh at the Acolyte a little bit more. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop. From all of us here at the Tooneytown channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!